As we head into the new year, many of us are looking back at the past year, maybe analyzing it, maybe judging it, or ourselves, deciding how we would like this next year to be different from the last year. And then after all of the junk food and the sugar that we ate during December, you may be deciding that it's time for a diet. With all the extra stuff to do in December, you maybe didn't get to the gym as much as you wanted. Maybe you're behind in projects at work, and there are probably plenty of areas in your life and business that could use some cleaning up or organizing. While choosing to take back your space and time make complete sense as we start cleaning up from the holiday season, we may also feel ambitious and decide to create some New Year's resolutions. But we probably know how that will go again. According to Columbia News, only 25% of people stay committed to their New Year's resolutions after just 30 days, with less than 10% actually accomplishing them. There's nothing wrong with wanting to create the life that you really want and trying to improve something about yourself, but deciding that everything will change overnight because it's a new year is often a setup for feelings of inadequacy and failure. What if this year you put your desires into a system that you can work with that will have the better chance of bringing you the life that you really want? Whether you love New Year's resolutions or hate them, you can build the life that you want with or without them. During this week's episode, we will talk about the first step to creating real goals that make a real difference in your life, getting in touch with your wishes and dreams first so that you can create meaningful goals that can get you to where you really want to be. This is episode 7, How to Claim Your Wants and Wishes to help you create the life that you really want. Welcome to Slay ADHD, where we help entrepreneurs recognize the ADHD struggles that are slowing their growth and may be costing them in time, money, and missed opportunities. We'll be teaching you the tools to work around these difficulties while helping you to develop the skills to make real progress and finally build the business you've been dreaming of. For the month of January 2026, I'll be talking about ways to get in touch with what you really want, giving you permission to dream and helping you to create goals that stick and help to make a difference in your life. The first topic I'd like to discuss is getting in touch with what you really want. I've discovered something about myself over the past couple of years in business. I found that I've been looking to sources outside of myself for permission to want the things in my life. I've worked with other coaches and my certification trainer, and I found myself trying to run my business in a way that they did because I assumed they had it all figured out. I also listened very carefully and watched their body language to see if I felt like they believed in me, if they believed that I'd made the right choice in the decisions that I'd made about my business. I created a website because other people had websites. I was strictly obedient when my certification coach told me to create a quiz for my website to get more interaction. Before I knew it, I was running in multiple different directions, trying to do all the things everyone else recommended without really being in touch with how I want to run my business and what I want to do. I was burning out while trying to start a business to help keep other business owners from burning out. I know, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It was time for me to figure out what I really want from my business and to decide for myself how I want to do it. In the book 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy, they talk about how making the right choices for your own success involve working towards what you want most, rather than seeking what society, culture, social media, or anyone else has trained you to think you want or need. This was the thing I needed to learn and what I'm going to help you with today. In my experience, I've found it much simpler for most people to look outside of themselves for guidance, even when it comes to having permission to want certain things. I want you to think about Roger Bannister, the first person who ran the 4-minute mile. Prior to this, it was considered impossible to run the mile in 4 minutes. Once he proved that you could run that fast, over 1,000 people have accomplished it since then. If you only look to do something that you have permission to do because you're being encouraged to do it by others, you might be missing out on a part of you that is unique and wonderful. You very likely have a gift at something, and if you only listen to what others have done or that they tell you that you can do, you might be missing out on, and the world might be missing out on, something really wonderful that you have to give. The first step is doing the work of figuring out what you really want and embracing how to go about getting it. It sounds pretty simple, right? Like from the time you were 2 years old, you've been fighting for autonomy and wanting just what you want. But from that 2-year-old space, all I really want is to eat cookies and watch TV all day long. This want is a part of our basic primal instincts, our survival instincts. This is described by the motivational triad, which describes 3 simple things that drive our decision making for survival. That is to seek pleasure, to avoid pain, and conserve energy. But if we give in to these basic instincts and that's all that we do, then we would never grow and develop. We would never discover new talents. You have to step out of the basic comfort zone if you want to reach for more in your life. And your prefrontal cortex, that part in the front of your brain that has the higher desires to discover real meaning in your life, it wants to find out, why am I here? What can I do to make this world I live in a better place? How can I live up to my full potential? That part of your brain is the one that we want to be paying attention to and that we want to give more space in our life. It may be the part that has the desire to be more, and you're ready to be more. Looking into these higher goals and exploring what it would take to create the life of your dreams can be really exciting. It can be thrilling to imagine what you could be if only. What do I want to do in the future if? But once you decide what it is that you really want and you want it badly enough to actually go for it and make it into a reality, that also means recognizing that you may have to commit to this, and it might mean accepting that there will be some risk involved, and it's definitely going to mean committing to a lot of work. Unfortunately, this is where a lot of us stop dreaming about our future, and we start to say, I don't know, when we're asked, what do you really want? That, I don't know, is a trick of the motivational triad, and that's playing on our brain. That part of your brain that wants to conserve energy will work really hard to keep you from committing to something new that it doesn't yet have proof will work out. The part that wants to avoid pain will convince you that it may not be worth the embarrassment if this doesn't turn out exactly the way that I have planned, and especially if it doesn't turn out the way that I told my friends and family that it was going to. But I'd like to invite you to gently tell that part of your brain, thank you for trying to help, but I've got this. I'm going to experiment with trying something new, and I choose to believe that I can be stronger than I was before. I've grown a lot in the past, and it could be fun to learn more, explore more, and become more than I ever have been before. Then I want you to start this experiment. The first thing is to write down the things that you already know that you want for your life, for your business, for your future. Then we're going to add to that list. Write down the things that you would want if you had more time, if you had more money, if you were a little bit older or a little bit younger, if you had more employees, if you felt like no one would judge you, if you knew that you couldn't fail, if it had never been done before, if you knew you could prove someone wrong by doing it, if you had permission to want it. As a business owner, you probably have other people who you feel accountable to, your employees, your customers, your vendors, your family, and friends. As a responsible person, it can feel wrong to have wants for yourself when you probably feel like you're trying to fill other people's needs and wants. But not recognizing your own wants and not letting them be valid, you may actually be depriving other people, or yourself of something really amazing that you were meant to give to the world? What if you're an accountant, but what you really love is music and you secretly want to sing in a band, or make wedding cakes, or interior decorating? Or maybe it's simply that you would like to keep your accounting business but move into the role of a manager instead of doing the accounting. Maybe you'd like to manage other people. Maybe you'd like to run other offices. Maybe you'd like to even turn that business into a chain. I want to give you permission to start the process of discovering what it is that you really want. When you write out this list of wants, think of it as just possibilities. You're not committing to anything on this list yet. This exercise is just to let you dream, let the ideas flow, and then see if you can come up with at least 20 different things that you want. The reason why I throw the number 20 out there is this is what happened when I first started this process. The list of 20 seems simple, but when you start writing it down, it can be hard to come up with a full 20 things. And that was what I struggled with the first time that I did this experiment. But it grew from there, and each time I've done it, it's been easier and easier to get 20. The reason why I push you to 20 is because it gets you out of that box. You probably have the first 5 that are easy to say that you want, but continuing to add to that list may get a little bit deeper into your subconscious and find some of those things that you want but have been suppressing, that you've never had permission to want before or thought that you could want. Keep adding to that list so that you can really look at the full depth of what you have inside of you. And then don't limit yourself right now. This is just to get the ideas coming. When I first started my entrepreneurial journey, I set out to write a book to help women lose weight and maintain their weight without dieting. In this process of writing the book, I learned more about marketing and advertising. I later took a wellness coaching certification course and got certified in that. And then I went a completely different direction and grew a very successful business doing insurance billing for mental health professionals. And in the middle of that, I spent a hot minute working with real estate agents to help them to market their business after the housing crash through sending newsletters. I found out real quick that that wasn't what I wanted to do. That was not my forte. Then in the last few years, I decided to get back into life coaching and business coaching, and I got certified in 3 different programs. As you can tell, my wants have changed over the years. And the great news is that none of the things that I pursued in the past or later gave up were wasted time. I learned something valuable from each of them, and everything I've learned from the past has helped me in what I do now and will do in the future. In fact, there are marketing tools and strategies that I learned years ago that have helped me to excel in jobs that had nothing to do with marketing. I wrote out my new list of wants yesterday, and it was a really enlightening experience. This is something that I've done several times through the years, and each time I learn something new about myself. I've also found that by writing my wants down, they mostly end up becoming a reality. Let me tell you how that works. There is something about getting the wants or wishes out into the open that allows your brain to search for it subconsciously, even when you're not actively looking for it. When the opportunity arises, you notice it and then remember, hey, didn't I want that once upon a time? Then you're more likely to take action towards embracing that thing that you really want in your life. So to wrap up, I invite you to start dreaming. Think about what you would wish for or want or desire, and then just write it down without any pressure to make it real. There's no commitment yet. This is just a discovery process. Next week, we'll talk about where to go from here and what next steps to take to start creating the new future that will give you the most meaning and lead to your best life. And if you'd like some individual help in the process, I invite you to sign up for a complimentary coaching session where I'll help you to explore more ways to move forward and to get past the things that are keeping you stuck. You'll find a link in the show notes. Until next time. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today and you've found any of this to be helpful, please share this episode with friends who you think could relate to these issues. And leave a review. It helps others who could use this help to be able to find us. And if you're ready to dive deeper, I invite you to check out my free masterclass that can help give you a better understanding of how ADHD shows up in business and what to do to move past these problems. Until next time, I wish you an enjoyable, purpose-filled week.